greeted you guys, and he greeted me back with "안녕하세요." Just like the dance we saw by Petra Thessalonica, one of my dearest students. Other than the dance that we just saw, I'm really sure that each one of us, at least once in our lifetime, has ever come across or experienced something about Korea in our lives. I'm sure at least we tasted the products like the food, the makeups for the girls, the songs, the dance, the clothes, the gadgets, and even the language, just like we practice right now, just like we have. Now, this is something about South Korea, and I'm going to tell you from a perspective from my field. Well, this is just a story, okay? So, in high school, I discovered something. That the three most powerful people are, first, the rich ones, because they have money. Second, the big ones, like with muscle everywhere, just like Hulk in Marvel. And third, the good-looking ones, the handsome and the beautiful. That's why we have Miss World, Miss Indonesia, and everything. South Korea is a bit of combination. South Korea has the money and has the beauty. Let me tell you a story. So South Korea was not born as a rich country. Was not born as a prince or a princess. South Korea back then had a big war. It's called the Peninsula War. And they won it. Right after that, the country gradually built itself. Now, after the country won the war, but then in the 1990s, they had to face a big economic recession. Well, they had already back then saved some money. The country, by the government back then, decided to use the money to build the country, but this time from another angle. So they rebranded the country. They rebranded the country from something about economy to something about beauty. Now, fun fact, Seoul, the capital, years ago was filled with traffic, big traffic jam. But then the government realized, and they thought that they had to do something about this. They tore down some part of the South Korea of Seoul, and then so that this beautiful heritage site could emerge. So right now, the capital, Seoul, is not just about business. It's not just about government. It's not just about politics. It's a place, it's a city where people can gather, where people can feel, can taste, can experience a little bit about South Korea. So people right now are attracted visiting South Korea, visiting the capital, Seoul, to taste the mochi, perhaps, or the ramen, or to practice the language, just like our top famous singer, Marianjola. Her latest song was inspired by South Korean ballads. If you don't believe me, but I suggest you to just listen to her song. Now, after this, the South Korea is not just powerful. It's not just some economic power. Well, when you're attractive, when you're beautiful, you attract people, right? People come to you asking for something. When you wear something, it becomes trends. When you eat something, it becomes trends. It's well known. Now, this is what the government wants to have. Right now, as I greeted you with 안녕하세요, and you greeted me back with 안녕하세요, and now I can say 감사합니다. And some of us, I'm sure, of course the girls, were wearing makeup made from South Korea and other parts of South Korea here. The objective is to have the people coming to the country. By then, just like Indonesia, if we have, the more tourists we have, the more money we have, right? So by having people visiting our country, we get money, they get pleasure. Win-win solution. That's the goal. And by doing that, right now, South Korea is not just known as a powerful economic country, but also an admirable one. That's why it's called Admirable and Ruling. How did it happen though? It's not just like that, of course not. So, it took great amount of commitment and resources, of course. One example that I told you about tearing down some part of the soul. Another example is by investing in the economy. Now, getting to the real life, we realize that Indonesia and South Korea have something in similar. We have Bali, we have Labuan Bajo, we have Raja Ampat, we have other beautiful tourism sites in Indonesia, across Indonesia. Can we be the next South Korean? Of course, it's yes. Can or cannot. How to answer it? Well, it depends on the government and on us. The government can be as committed as South Korean government. And we, as young people, as students, as professionals, we can do something. Something that particularly interesting about South Korea is, they are very proud of their national products. They don't consume products imported from other countries. Do we have that same pride here in Indonesia? Do we use our Indonesian product made from Indonesia, made by Indonesians, proud Indonesians? That's a question that we have to be true to ourselves. Now, this is the time for us. By consuming our local products, eventually, the government will notice. Well, South Korea was depressed back in 1990s. It took them around 18, 20 years, 2 decades roughly. So, at least we're progressing to be admirable and ruling. Thank you very much.
Cut.